99.7 DJX, Ben Davis, Kelly K Show, the Norton Children's Hospital Radiothon here. You can always text the word balloon to 51555. And I always love talking to families. And yeah, that's
we've gotten to really, get to know a lot of these families and these kids over the years. They become like part of our Radiothon family.
Yeah. And we want to bring on Britney and Sadie. And Britney has now a 5-year-old daughter named Sadie. And everything was going great when she was pregnant with Sadie 5 years ago, up until her 35th week checkup with the ultrasound. And now I've been in that situation too, where you're sitting there in the ultrasound room and nothing's happening. And Britney, first of all, how are you?
Oh, hey, let's add her in. There she is.
Here I am. Here we
are. and so Britney, yes. How are you?
I am good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. So yeah, walk us through when you're there laying on the table at and the ultrasound tech is looking around and you can tell something's off.
Absolutely. When they start taking a little bit longer than you want, and for a mom, you want to sit there and then see your baby as much as you can, because if you're just dying to get her out and get a hold of her. When she started taking a little bit of extra time and she started getting more quiet, I knew something was going on. And I remember they left the room and they took me into another room and they said, "We want you to do a video conference with the doctor in Louisville." And I just remember my brain kind of stopped working for a minute and I was trying to process. I was in there by myself. I had made my husband at the time go back to work that day. I was like, nothing, it's fine. Go back to work. This is silly. She's fine. And so I was there. And I remember this doctor popped on the screen and there were abnormalities found. And at the time they were afraid that she had actually had a stroke in utero. Whew, okay, the water work start early. And so, as a mom, when you've spent 35 weeks thinking everything is fine, literally at that point, my biggest concern was how big of a bow can I put on her head coming home from the hospital? That was my biggest concern up to that point. And our world was just kind of rocked all of a sudden. And, it seemed like in just a matter of minutes, we went from that to being rushed upstairs to labor and delivery. Are we going to airlift you? Are we going to let you drive? People running in and out. And then in a whirlwind second, it feels like we were pulling up to Norton's. Mm-hmm. And it's just all such a blur. And I think that you feel more emotions and go numb at the same time. It's the weirdest mix of feelings that I have ever experienced to this day. And, little did I know that was the start of so many of those whirlwind emotions that still go on today. But that was definitely the beginning of our ride with Sadie.
So when they finally kind of came up with a laundry list, really, of diagnoses, one of which being hydrocephalus, well, had you even heard of that before? What does that do to your mindset?
So for 1 week, for the first week we were there, I was on bed rest at Norton's, and they didn't really know what was going on. We knew that the hydrocephalus was there. There were so many unknowns. We don't really know what's causing it yet. We don't know what to tell you. We don't know what to tell you to expect. And so for a week, just laying there confined in that hospital room, there's a lot that goes through your mind. There really is. So 1 week of bed rest in Louisville, and they decided to do a C-section and to go ahead and take her. I got to kiss her really quick before she was rushed across the pedway over to Norton Children's. And that's when it all kind of started to unfold. They did some MRIs and some things came back, and we found out that in addition to the hydrocephalus, that she actually had complete agenesis of the corpus callosum, which means that the whole center part of her brain that connects the left and right side was completely missing. It didn't develop at all. She had bilateral polymicrogyria, which is often referred to as smooth brain. So the folds in her brain are very small and they're not very deep. Macrocephaly, meaning that her head size or her head circumference was larger than should have been there. and that she also had a cyst that had formed where her corpus callosum should have been in between the two halves of her brain. So, we went from what bow are we going to wear home to the hospital. So I remember a split second thinking, are we going to leave the hospital? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
We started talking to the doctors, and basically with that combination of things that were going on, the things that we were told, basically in a nutshell, we were told to not have hopes for anything resembling a normal life. Walking, talking, even eating, all of those things were unknown, if she would be able to do them or at what capacity. Seizures were pretty much an imminent thing. They said by the time she was 3 months old, and that they may or may not be able to be controlled. And, we almost had to grieve like the life. I remember laying there one night thinking, am I going to pick out prom dresses with my baby? Am I going to, are we going to do all these things, these mommy daughter, mani-pedis that I had planned? Like, are these things going to be an option? And I remember there was one night, and I was walking down the hall in the NICU. Mommy's happy crying, don't worry. I was walking down the hall in the NICU, and it was the first real moment of clarity. And I just remember this little small voice, and I know that it was God, and he said, it's just for a little while. And wow, I remember thinking then that no matter what she was like or what her life like was here, that one day God would have her perfect. Everything would be perfect. And all I had to do was get her through and help her be exactly what God had designed her to be. And I didn't know it then, but Norton's was a place where we got to see God work miracles. He worked through those doctors and those nurses. And
she's defied the odds.
Oh my gosh.
In so many ways.
This little girl has reached so many people, because all of that being said, she is a perfectly normal 5-year-old little girl. She is on a competition cheer team.
Oh my God.
She does pageants. She loves mani-pedis. She loves to do makeup. She has a bigger social circle than anything I've ever seen. The girl loves to shop.
She's a 5-year-old girl through and through.
I'm telling you, Dolly Parton is her idol. All the bling and the sass, and that is like Dolly Parton is just a tiny little Sadie. And so all of those things that I was afraid of that could happen, everything that was supposed to happen hasn't, and everything that wasn't supposed to happen has. Wow. We've had a shunt placed. She did have brain surgery for the cyst when the pressure started to increase, and Dr. Moriarty there put that shunt in, and she did great. She did wonderful. And I can't tell you what a difference it makes. Having these doctors that you have so much trust in, because there's no amount of anything that you can do that will make you not be scared to death. When she was 2 at the time, when your 2-year-old is going back for brain surgery, and bless his heart to this day, I'm surprised that man lived through the bear hug that he got when he brought her back out after surgery. I'm a Kentucky girl. I'm a hugger. That man was getting a hug.
Absolutely.
But it's been a wild ride.
Well, now Sadie has a beautiful yellow bow in her hair and is doing pageants and is doing everything a 5-year-old girl should be doing. And my gosh, I mean, what you said there really just hit home, where it's like God was working through the doctors and the nurses there at Norton Children's Hospital that day. And
absolutely. I'm a firm believer that even when things are dark and they're scary, that God has a way of getting us where we need to be. And I know without a doubt that we were supposed to be at Norton Children's. And I'm so thankful for the doctors and the nurses and the staff and just everybody there. Because, even when we go now, we've been there so much over the past 5 years. It's kind of like a home away from home, because, we are always there. And the nurses who work down at the MRI know that the only way to get Sadie to go back is to let her look at shoes. She loves to shop for shoes, and they will pull out their phones and let her look at shoes on the back for her MRI. And they just they remember her when we come, and that means so much. And I remember right before they took her back for her brain surgery, and we asked to pray with Dr. Moriarty and the team before they took her back. And as they walked off, I heard one of the people ask him, "Is there anything special about this one?" And I know that they meant that, is there anything we need to watch for, any complications? And he said, "Everything about this little girl is special."
Aww.
And as a mom, hearing that and knowing that your doctor sees that and recognizes that every child is not just another patient, that's everything in those situations.
That says everything about how special the staff is at Norton Children's. They get it, that they are treating a whole family, they're treating hearts, they're treating emotions and everything in addition to the physical things that they're treating. They're just amazing.
Absolutely, they really are.
And Sadie, what is your favorite color?
Pink.
Yes.
Yeah. Totally. Beautiful.
I love it. Well, Britney,
thank you so much for sharing your story.
We appreciate it so much.
I know it's so difficult to kind of walk through what is, arguably the most difficult thing you've ever been through. And we really appreciate it that you guys really are the centerpiece of this whole radiothon and the whole reason why we're doing this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We feel so blessed to be able to share her story. And, I really think that God can use every situation. And that's one thing that I promise through all this is to be open and to keep sharing, and that hopefully somebody else will be able to be helped or find that light that they need for whatever they're going through.
The number is 888-499-KIDS. Or you can always text the word balloon to 51555. It is the Norton Children's Hospital Radiothon here on 99.7 DJX.
Sadie, keep being fabulous.
Can you wave at him? See y'all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Here, powered by Bill Collins Ford on 99.7 DJX.